Hi, so let's make some book covers. I'm going to DIYbookcovers.com and I've got this free online tool here. It's kind of a graphic design tool. It's similar to Canva, but it actually has a lot more capabilities, especially for fiction book covers. But what I'm going to do right now is just make some very simple text-only covers without a lot of fancy effects or blending or anything like that. So I'm just going to pick some pictures that look pretty good that we can add some text to and make something pretty simple. And usually for really simple covers, you'll find something. Let's try this one. And here I've got my custom sizes, so I'm going to make this a 6x9 cover. 6x9 is a good size. When you're doing Kindle, Amazon actually recommends a 1:5 ratio. Sorry, 1:6 ratio, which is this 5:8. It's a little bit taller and more narrow. They recommend it. Maybe it's because it fits on the iPhone 5 screen a little bit better, but 6:9 gives you the normal book size. It's just a little bit wider, and I prefer it. So I usually do most of my covers. And it'll make it, because it's 300 dpi, the 6:9 is actually 1,000, let me remember, 1,800 pixels by 2,700 pixels, which is a good size for Kindle and ebooks. And usually, I mean, you can use this tool to do a lot of fun things and blend layers, but we're just going to do some really simple stuff by adding text. A lot of the best-selling books in 2014, they were actually like one simple photo and some text in the middle and nothing fancy at all. So we'll do something like that. I could, if I wanted to, change the hue quite a bit, do monochrome if I wanted to. That can make a big difference. Depends on the kind of genre. Your genre is always the color that you choose for your cover is going to cause the emotion that you want your readers to feel when they read your book. So this is kind of warm, a little dramatic, but if I had it maybe this color, it'd be for a thriller or vampire novel. I'm going to keep it, but I'm going to raise the saturation a little bit. Maybe. I'm going to also darken it a little bit. There's a lot of light in the middle, which is going to make it a little bit hard when we put our text on, but we'll mostly use the space up here and down here for the text. So let's just jump in and add some text. You could do all this stuff in Photoshop if you can use Photoshop or Microsoft Word even, but I made this tool so that authors can make their own covers for free online, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to use this one. It's a nice font. There's more. I mean, I can do more with the tool. There's room for improvement, but as it is, it's already got a lot of options that you can't really find in other online graphics editors. You don't need the title to be too big. I don't really need to add any special effects. I could add a little bit of glow if I wanted to. Something like, oops, something like this. Or I could go over here to textiles and add something even crazier, but I don't really need to. This actually isn't so bad. I kind of like the colors. So I'll play with that for a minute. I can go over here to effects. This is my layers panel. And I can uncheck these one by one. It is kind of nice to have that glow. So maybe I'll keep it. I just duplicated the layer, and then for this one, I'm going to take those text effects off because I don't want it to be fancy. And I'm going to add just a tiny bit of drop shadow behind there. I don't like to use drop shadow, but if used well, it can be okay. So this isn't my favorite cover. Um, it's a little boring, but it also looks pretty good. For a lot of fiction, this would be enough. I'd probably want a blurb or review or something. Reviews can sometimes go on the top and look okay. And I'm gonna have to move this down. I could keep it like that and it's not too bad. I'm not sure I really like these effects. I almost liked it when it was plain white better, but I'm gonna leave it for now. And then I can just save this as a PNG file and it'll be ready to go for Kindle. Looks like that picture I used wasn't really high resolution. You've got to make sure you use nice pictures, high quality pictures. But when you zoom up really, really close, you might see that the detail's not so great, but most people will never see your cover in such close detail. It's usually going to look something like this on Amazon, smaller copy. For print, if you wanted to turn this into a print cover, you'd have to make sure that the quality was really high. And I'm going to save it as project 2. So now with that project file I just saved, later I'll put it on my site and you can just open a project and open this template and then just play around with the text and change things around. But let's go ahead and make one more. We'll try another picture. And I'm just making simple fiction covers. In a minute we'll do some nonfiction ones. And I'm not even blending layers or anything too complicated like that yet. I've also I'm picking pretty bland pictures. I'm not trying to do any particular genre right now, so I'm avoiding these fantasy, sci-fi, vampire romance type stuff so that we can just do some really basic. For example, here's something really basic. Now when I open it up, it's really big, so I've got to grab the edge and scale down. This is the type of cover you might see on a literary fiction where it's just really abstract nature, nothing really happening, and then it's just all text. But it can actually turn out really well, sometimes much better than something more complicated. I'm going to just change this text. First, I'll get rid of those textiles. I'm just going to change it to white. I could also grab this background and change the colors depending on the genre. Teal works pretty well. Just a little bit darker. Maybe I'll turn this to say a novel. You don't need to put on a book cover. Usually you don't need to say this is a novel. It's better to use that text for a tagline or a review or something that tells them a little bit more about the book. But in this case, I'm just going to use it. I'll change this to a simple serif font. It's kind of interesting. So a simple cover like this, really this could be science fiction, it could be a few different genres. It's not really flashy or fancy, but it's a really strong cover, just with that one image. I could add a little bit more if I want to make it more interesting. Maybe something like this. It's a little geometric. And I can use my layers panel here to blend things together. There we go. So it's basically the same, but it's just got a little bit of interest with this pattern, this geometric pattern, which makes it a little more interesting. And I'm going to move that layer down. Maybe not. Put one more up on top. And that author name is just a little bit too dark. I like the color, but it's really disappearing down there, so I'm going to bring that up a little bit. If I can find it. Maybe I can't find it. So I'm going to make this a little bit transparent to let some of that color in. Good, I'm going to stop there. Yep. So I'm just going to save it as a project file. Also as a PNG, so I can use it right away if I want to on Kindle. And then you can always just open this back up and change the text or swap out the picture for something else. stop this video here, I think, and then we'll start on a few nonfiction.